Hey folks, welcome. My name is Emily and this is Gently Chaotic Knits, which is generally a video podcast series where I chat about what I have been making, knitting, spinning, occasionally some other crafting like crochet or sewing, but mostly just the knitting. I am coming to you from a very cloudy Seattle, Washington. It is mid-February, it's the afternoon, and so I have actually kind of shifted my camera angle a little bit to try to get the last bit of light from the window. So I'm hoping that I have a little bit of light left. I really prefer to do the natural light rather than turn in the bright overhead light on because I think the colors are just not as nice. So we'll see. I think it's going to be a shorter video today. I am hopping on today for a regular project update video, and I have not a ton of new things that I've been working on, but I have just some progress I wanted to share, and I thought, okay, I've got a little bit of time, and even if it's a shorter update, folks might want to see the progress I've made, and so I wanted to hop on and share. But yeah, I think it'll probably be a little shorter, but I will just jump right into it, and then I can share what I've been working on. So first things first, I also didn't take any notes for this. I normally do, but we're just going right from the noggin. So we'll see how that goes as well if I miss anything that, we'll do again. We will do our best. So first things first, I guess it's not a finished object, but it's almost finished. I don't know. Let me just talk about it and then you'll know what I'm saying. So my Lauder vest is not done, but at one point I thought this was the final state. It's not, but anyway, this is the Lauder vest by Clow, the Crayavea, and I knit it out of Bushtale. I think is the yarn, 8-ply. I think they maybe have a couple different weights. The 8-ply is like a DK weight, and it is in the colorway Shale. It is a possum merino blend yarn that I got in New Zealand last year, and I love this yarn so much, and I love this vest so much. I kind of finished knitting it. Well, okay, I don't know how best to explain what's going on. Basically, I knit this and then I thought, I don't think I want to do the ribbed edging around the neck hole opening and the armholes. So I decided I would just go ahead and block it and see what I thought, and then I would decide later if I want to put the edging on. And so I did that, I finished and I blocked it and I tried it on, and I definitely want to add the edgings. So that's why I'm saying it's not done. It's kind of done. I thought it might be done at this stage, but I really want to add the edgings. So, but anyway, I finished all the other knitting and I blocked it, and I think the fabric is really nice. Here's what the cables look like, so pretty. And I blocked it out pretty wide to get these cables really nice and relaxed. So let me go ahead, actually, oh, I guess I could share what I'm wearing too, but maybe I'll finish talking about this, and then when I put this sweater back on, I'll talk about what I'm wearing. Yeah, I can try it on so that you guys can see what the vest looks like. I don't know if this is necessarily the shirt I would wear it over, but that's okay. It'll do for today. So here it is. I can kind of sit up in my chair so you can see what it looks like. Oh, it's so cute. I love the ease that I got on it. This is exactly like the kind of amount of ease I was going for. Honestly, I think it could be a tiny bit more cropped. I could have gone a little bit shorter with the body, but that's okay. I'm still happy with the length. It's not too long, but I think I could have gone a little bit shorter. You can kind of see where it hits. These are like pretty high-waisted. They're not super high-waisted. My belly button is right here. So this definitely is below my belly button. I also didn't go down a needle size for the ribbing, and I kind of wish I had. I didn't want it to cinch, but it's kind of puckery here because of that. So I think I wish I had gone down a needle size. I made some pretty heavy modifications to this pattern. The primary one is I very heavily modified the V-neck to make it a lot deeper. I basically doubled or halved the increase rate so that I did the increases over twice the number of vertical rows than the pattern called for, because I did want the V to be quite a bit lower. And I really like the way the V turned out. I think with that extra ribbing in here, it will be perfect. So yeah, definitely gonna go ahead and add the ribbing. I think I just needed to see it blocked, because unblocked when I tried it on, I was like, this is perfect, this is really nice. But then of course when I blocked it, everything really relaxed and it kind of sat down a little bit lower. I think the ribbing around the armholes will also be nice, just give it like a little bit extra here on the shoulders too. So I am gonna go back and I am gonna add those ribbing details, but otherwise it's pretty much done. I mean, I don't know, it's not done, but it feels kind of done because I've already done most of the work and I have already blocked it and I can try it on and it feels great. So this yarn is so soft and nice. It was really nice to work with. I was talking to my friend Megan about it. The way I described it to her is it almost feels felted. The yarn does. It just has this like really felty, soft, woolly feel to it, which is really nice. And this is exactly what I was wanting. I was really craving this kind of cabled, yeah, like gray cabled vest, and I think this nailed it. I am really impressed with how quickly I knit this as well. Like, I know it's just a vest, but the cables are intense. Like when you're doing a cable row here, and the cable rows are every 4th row, but when you're doing a cable row, it's like almost every stitch is in a cable. You know, you've got these purls in between the cables, but otherwise you're just cabling entirely across the row. So it was kind of like, I don't know, I had to like muster through the cable rows. The other rows were not too bad. I think I did the front pieces and the back panel so quickly. And I was talking to my friends who also knit this pattern. They said the same thing, that like once you get in the round in the body, it really becomes a slog, because all the like doing those cable rows all the way around are such a slog. And so I got to the point where I was like, each night when I sat down to work on this, like, I have to just do at least one cable row, like at least one. And then normally once you sit down and you start working on something, you know, I would keep going. So it was totally fine. I did get there eventually. I actually went again, like maybe a little bit past where I wanted to, so I could have stopped a little bit earlier, but that's okay. I actually kind of like this on top of the shirt. We know that I love a V-neck over a crew neck striped t-shirt. I do really like that. I don't know if I initially would have picked these colors together, but I kind of like it. This is one of my favorite t-shirts. So yeah, I still have a little bit of work to do, so I won't say that completely done, but I'm very, very pleased. I knit this total, I think it took me about 3 weeks. And again, I still have a little bit left to do, but I would say most of the knitting was done in almost exactly 3 weeks. And this was the primary thing I was working on during that time. So 3 weeks of pretty attentive knitting on it. But yeah, the size I knit was, I think I knit a size 3 by the numbers, but you can't really trust that because my gauge was pretty off. My gauge was tight, although I did really stretch it out when I blocked it. So I don't know how it ended up. I haven't measured my gauge. I will maybe try to do that once I'm finished knitting this and like have already done all the finishing and everything. But yeah, I knit a size 3. I knit it on believe a size US 4 needle, but the pattern I think calls for a US 3 needle. So I do think I went up a needle size, and then I still think my gauge was tight. So I don't know if Rebecca is just a really loose knitter. I considered myself, I thought I was a pretty loose knitter, so I'm a little bit surprised by that. But maybe with the really stretching it out when blocking, I'm closer to gauge than I thought. I think I'm still maybe a little tight, but But yeah, I also gave myself way more ease than the pattern called for. The pattern I think calls for, oh gosh, I don't want to be speaking without knowing. I think it was like 2 to 6 inches of ease, maybe, positive ease around the bust. And I have closer to like 8, I think, maybe. I just wanted it. Honestly, I have another vest that I knit a while ago and I measured it. And also when I was knitting, I kind of held this one up because I wanted this one to fit similar to that one. That's when I realized that I went too far. I held it up to that one and was like, wait, this is too long. I went too far, but I wasn't gonna go back at that point. I guess I could have, but I'm not, I think it's good. I don't know. I keep sitting up to show you all the length. I think the length is good. It's fine. It's good. Anything else I need to share about this? I don't know. I think I really like knitting cables. I like the way that they look and feel. And I like the way that this has turned out. I am very hopeful that I can finish this up in the next, I mean, few days would be nice. I don't think it's a ton of work left. So hopefully I can finish up pretty soon and then I can start wearing it and I can share with y'all next time. So that is my Lauder vest. And now I'm gonna pop my sweater back on because I am actually a little bit chilly. Realize the heater I think turned off in this room. It's on like a timer. So, but I'll just put my sweater back on and I should be fine. So, and then I can tell you about that sweater as well. So let me just swap that back on. Which side is the front? Okay. This sweater is the Birch pullover. I knit this a long time ago, several years ago, but I really want to make another one. This is one of my most worn sweaters. It's a pattern by Andrea Mowry. Mine is way bigger than the pattern calls for, so I want to make another one that is closer to the intended ease, but I still really like the way that this one fits. The yarn I used is unfortunately not available anymore, but it's Classic Sport from Autumn and Indigo in the colorway Loma, and I'm very much a yellow girly. I love yellow, and I generally, I think, go for more like a mustardy kind of yellow. This one is a little bit more, less on that like mustardy, less orangey yellow, but I really, really like it, and I feel very me. I feel very myself when I wear this sweater, so this one is definitely a classic for me. This morning I was like, what am I gonna wear today? And I just felt like pulling on a classic. So, but I do really want to make another one. I have been talking to my friends. Some of them have made them for the first time or have cast on a second one recently, and I really want to make another one. I want to make one in dark gray because I think it would be so wearable and I would wear it all the time. So I am planning for that at some point. I don't know if that will be soon, but someday I do want to make another Birch. It is kind of a slog of a knit though, but highly recommend. So anyway, that is what I am wearing today. Speaking, I didn't say this word, but speaking of brioche, this is actually, I think, half fisherman's rib, so not quite, but similar, same kind of vibe. I do have a brioche project to share with y'all as well that I've made some progress on. I am still working on my crosshatch wrap, which is a pattern by Jared Flood. I am kind of following. I have ended up making some modifications to it, but that was kind of where the inspiration came from, and I started with the pattern and then just kind of went from there. But anyway, this is a pretty big 2-color brioche shawl wrap scarf type thing. It's just like a really big rectangle. I saw this, I don't know, on Instagram or somewhere, and was just really taken by the color and the contrast as well. The original sample was also knit in this really dark kind of black and white yarn, and I wanted to make the exact same thing. So anyway, I got some yarn. I had this gray yarn left over from a sweater that I knit for my husband. This is Rerum Natura Gilliat in the colorway Fusain. And then I picked up the cream yarn from New York Sheep and Wool Festival in 2023. And it is from Spinaway Farms and is just their undyed, I think it's called Italian Merino. It's a sport weight, just cream merino yarn. And this one is really, really soft. I love the way that it feels as well. So it's kind of cool. The yarns have a very different texture. And so the two sides of the wrap feel very different. Anyway, the pattern also calls for 2 different weights of yarn. So the gray is a worsted weight and the cream is a sport weight. So I think it calls for Shelter and Loft from Brooklyn Tweed, which I think are like a DK and a fingering weight maybe. So, but I don't think it really matters. I mean, it's just a big 2-color brioche rectangle again, like I said. I am knitting, I think there are 2 sizes in the pattern. I'm knitting the wrap size, which is the larger size, and then I modified the edging. So I'm just doing an I-cord edging just in the gray color. So, and then I had some issues at the beginning with the I-cord being too tight. So I am doing just like occasionally I'll add in an extra I-cord row on the edge to make it stretch out a little bit. Okay, what else can I say about this? Let me show you my progress. So I did put a marker where I was last time I recorded so that you can see my progress. So you can't see this marker. This is I was talking to my friends about this last night as well. I like to have a podcast level marker and then a day level marker. So I can share with y'all where I was last time, which is here, this marker. So I've done, I don't know, like 6 inches since that. And then I like to also put a marker each day so I can see the progress that I make each day. So, well, I don't put one each day, but I just move it each day so that when I start knitting on something for that day, I can tell how much I knit by the end of the day. So this is my marker. I don't think you can see it. It's a light bulb, like a black light bulb marker. You can't really see. You can tell where I'm pointing though. So that was my marker for last night. I had knit night last night and I worked on this the last half of knit night. And so I did, I don't know, what is that? Maybe 2 inches last night on this. So my goal is to at least knit 1 inch per week on this because I really would like to have this finished by the end of the year. Ideally, I would love to finish it this winter, like in the next month or so, but I'm not gonna make it if I knit 1 inch a week. But the more that I am able to do, the less I have to work on this in the summer. You know what I mean? So I'm hoping to get a good chunk of this done this winter. I mean, it would be great if I could finish it before the weather gets too warm because I don't think I'm gonna wanna work on this at all in the spring. And well, spring maybe, but in the summer, I don't think I'm gonna wanna work on this. It's just like so warm and squishy. And in the summer, I generally like to knit on like tees and tanks. So yeah, I'm hoping I can get a lot of it done before then, but if I don't, maybe I can finish it in the fall and then have it for next winter because I really, really want it. I'm ready to have this. I'm ready to be done knitting it and I'm also ready to have it and wear it. But I did rope a couple of my friends into knitting this with me because I think with this one I've been struggling a little bit on the motivation side. And so I always do better when I'm knitting along with my pals. So my friends Megan and Ariel have agreed to knit a giant 2-color brioche wrap shawl scarf thing with me as well. And Ariel has already started hers. So if you watch Ari Knits here on YouTube, I think she shared in her last video her color combination that she picked out, which is so beautiful. And then she cast on and we were knitting a little bit together last night at knit night. So it feels good to have a buddy. But now I'm very motivated because I'm like, I have such a head start on this that I can't let them catch me. But I feel like they're going to. Like, I don't know. Megan and Ariel are both such speedy knitters, so I feel like I'm gonna get caught, but that's what I needed. This is the motivation, is I get to work on it along with my pals. So yeah, I really like this, and I honestly like knitting brioche as well, so I kind of like the rhythm and everything. It's is really nice. It's just a lot of knitting. So, and I find myself to be primarily a garment knitter, I would say. So I really focus on the garment project that I'm working on at any time. So I have been working so much more on like my vest, for example, and just kind of when I think of it, maybe I'll squeeze in a few rows. I guess it helped that I was working on the cabled vest because I couldn't work on that if I was doing anything else really, because I kind of had to pay attention and look down for the cables. So I did take this a couple of times to like activities with friends where I was just sitting and chatting mostly. So it works well for that. Wow, it's so warm. It's so squishy. But it is getting a little bit big and kind of unwieldy to take with me places. So I prefer a sock project for that anyway, but I took this a couple of times to places when I was just kind of hanging out and chatting. What else about this? I think that's kind of it. Crosshatch wrap. That's pretty heavily modified. I love the way that it's so squishy. I wish you could feel this. It's so squishy. Make your own. Join me. Help me. Motivate me. Make a 2-color brioche giant wrap and let's do this together, because I struggle to motivate myself sometimes with this. But it's okay. I think now that it's long enough that I can really wrap it around and I can see and feel what it's like, I am really doing a better job of working on it, because I think I want the thing enough now that yes, I have to work on this. But anyway, that's it. This is what the lighter side looks like. I think I showed the darker side, and it's lovely. Okay. Otherwise, I've only really worked on 2 other projects. So first, I have my February socks, and they're actually behind the camera. So let me scoot and grab. Here they are. Okay, so if you don't remember, I am doing a year of socks for 2025, which just means I am trying to knit a pair of socks every month of the year of 2025. I already knit my January socks and then cast on my February socks earlier this month. And I am almost halfway done. I'm nearly done with my first sock. So for February, I am knitting the Midsummer Dancer socks by Sari Nordlund. I modified the, why do I modify everything? I modified the cuff. It is a ruffle cuff in the pattern, but I find that I mostly am wearing my socks like in boots and underpants and stuff. So I didn't find the ruffle cuff would be as functional for me. So I just did a standard 1x1 rib cuff. And then I have this lovely lace pattern, which I felt was so perfect in February and just very, I don't know, feminine and nice. So, and paired really well with this yarn, which is Woolberry Fiber Co. It is a sock set that was for La Mercerie for their physical shop opening in Polsbo a few years ago that I picked up when La Mercerie first opened. And the colorway is Sandcastle, which is the color of this main skein here. And then the contrast I don't think has a name. It's just this really pretty yellow, like mustardy color. And I have already put the heel in so you can see the yellow in action here. But yeah, I am almost done with this sock. I think I need to do one more lace repeat and then I can put the toe in. I was kind of today measuring this up against another sock that I know fits because I've been having so much trouble. I talked about this I think a little while ago. I've been having so much trouble getting my sock length right and I don't know why, but I have a pair of socks that I know fit, and so now I'm like comparing this to that so that I can try to get it right this time. But the tricky thing is I do want it to end cleanly on a lace repeat. Like I don't want to stop in the middle of one of these little flowers. So that's a little tricky. So it may be a little bit off because I have to go a little extra or stop it a little early. I guess it'd be better to go a little extra, rather be too long than too short. But anyway, I find this pattern to be really enjoyable to knit. It's one where like you do have to pay attention a little bit. It's not just knitting or ribbing or anything like that, but you know, easy to memorize pattern. And I think it's really cute. I really like the way that it looks. So, and I really like this yarn too. I think the color is nice. So yeah, I'm quite happy with the way these have turned out. This is my first one. I have it as a goal that I wrote down today to finish the sock today. So it is, we're past halfway through February, so I'm a little bit behind. And I'm nervous. I really don't want to get behind because the socks that I have planned for March and April are both gift knits for folks in my life who have bigger feet than I do. So I am nervous about, like, those will take extra time, more time than socks that I knit for myself. So I really don't want to get behind before March and April because I want to be on track with those, and it may require a little extra knitting in March and April. So hopefully I can get myself back caught up. But February is also a short month, so that makes it a little trickier as well. But that's okay. I did like a lot of the sock just in one day. I was like maybe halfway through the cuff, and I did like the rest of the cuff and the heel turn and the gusset and a little bit more all in one day. So if push comes to shove, I have actually knit one sock in one day before. That's a story for early in the podcast. OGs will know when this happened. This was like, I don't know, I think like one of my first episodes of this podcast I talked about it. Anyway, I have done that before, so I know that I can do it, but hopefully we don't get to that point again. So that is my February socks, and hopefully, I don't know, maybe next time I'll be done with them. I'm not sure when I will next record, so could be. Okay, one last thing that I've been working on a little bit in the last couple of weeks. Where's the garment? You might be asking. If I finished my vest and that's been blocking, what have I been working on? So the answer is I picked up a whip that I already had. Good work, Emily. I picked back up this Bouclé sweater that I had cast on with my friends a while ago. So this is the Northwoods V-neck, which is a pattern by Jessie May. It's not a pattern that's written for Bouclé, but a friend of ours, Sylvan, had already knit this in Bouclé yarn and it turned out great. So some other of my friends and I cast this on, I think in like November maybe of last year together. And again, my friends Ariel and Megan are already done and I saw theirs. It's so cute. So that really motivated me to work on mine and get it done as well. So I picked this back up. I had only just barely cast on and done, there are like some short rows here, like at the shoulders. So I had done the short rows and like not much else. I think I was roughly where this stitch marker is. So I had done like just that little bit. And then I picked this up really just a couple days ago because as soon as I finished my vest, it was like garment time. And while that was blocking, I've been working on this. The tricky thing is that I'm supposed to be counting rows and like keeping track of how many rows I knit for this pattern. And you know, it's like, okay, this many rows until you break off the back piece and you start knitting the front piece. One, I don't know if my gauge is right, my row gauge is right. Two, it's Bouclé, so it's kind of hard to count the rows because the fabric is just a little bit, it's fuzzy. It's kind of hard to find the stitches. So I'll probably just have to suck it up and go in and like with a tapestry needle kind of pick up each stitch and count my rows to make sure that I've done it right. But I did stop keeping track of how many rows I knit because I was like, I cannot be bothered to do this. The yarn, I haven't shared about the yarn yet. This is Explorer Knits and Fibers Bouclé DK in the colorway Oxide. I got this yarn from my friends who several of them had knit with this specific yarn, like this space and this color, for different projects, and then they all had a little bit of leftovers, and so they pooled their leftovers together and gave them to me, and it was enough for me to make a sweater out of. So that is so nice. I can't believe that they did that, and I just got a sweater quantity of yarn from the sweetness of my friends. So here's a close-up on the yarn. It's a really pretty color. If you're looking at this and thinking, Emily, I feel like I just saw you knit something out of this color. Yeah, you could be talking about any number of things. I have really been loving this color. I just finished my first hand spun sweater that I shared about in my last project update video, is a very similar color. I've knit another sweater that's basically this color. I have a little tank top that I knit that is basically this color. So I'm really into this color. I like it a lot. I mean, each of them is slightly different, but this like color family, I would say, I'm very into right now. Or not even just right now, just all the time. But yeah, I'm not having too much trouble knitting with the Bouclé. Like, I remember not liking it when I did it before. I have already knit a sweater with Bouclé yarn, and it's not too bad. I mean, it's a little bit finicky. It's just like your needle sometimes gets stuck in those little loops, and it's just not as smooth as knitting with like a standard worsted spun yarn, but or woolen spun. I don't know why I said worsted spun specifically. It's not like this is woolen spun. This is Bouclé. This is just like a weird texture, a normal textured yarn. But I'm not having too much trouble. I don't find myself like really itching to work on this. I don't know if that's about the Bouclé yarn, or I don't know. I just need to just go back and watch Megan and Ariel's videos over and over and over, because when I see them sharing about this sweater, like, it's so cute and I have to finish mine and I want to finish it. But yeah, I just need that constant little, I want this. I do want it. And I will finish it, but yeah, I still have a little bit to go on the back, and then I'll go to the front. And it's gonna be a V-neck. My friends did the ribbing also in the Bouclé yarn, which I really like. I was unsure about. I don't know how I feel about ribbing in Bouclé, but I think it turned out really cute, so I will plan to do that for mine as well. So yeah, this is the Northwoods V-neck. And that is the last of the things I've been working on, and I don't have anything else to share. I don't have any spinning to show you. I can just say I've been working on the same sweater spin that I shared about last time, which is the spin for my traveler hoodie. I am on my last batch of yarn. I am over halfway through my last gray bobbin, and then I just need to do a colorful bobbin, and then I need to apply them together. I'm still hopeful that I can finish by the end of February, but it's gonna be tight. I had visitors this last weekend. My parents came to visit, and then my sister and her fiance are coming to visit this week and are gonna be here for a while. So I just don't spin as much, I feel, or knit as much, I think, when we have visitors, because I'm just hanging out and we're going and doing things and that kind of thing. So we'll see. It could be tight, because also February is a short month. And it's already, I guess today is what, the 18th? So I have 10 days, and we have visitors for like 7 of those days or something like that. So it could be tricky, but I have today and tomorrow. I'm gonna try to finish the gray bobbin, and then maybe I can just do, like, if we're hanging out and watching TV or whatever, I need to remember and think to spin more. My instinct is always just to hang out and sit and knit, but I need to remember that I can also sit and hang out and spin too. So I'm still hopeful that I can finish by the end of February, but if not, I think it'll be just right after. And I'm really excited to be done with that project. I feel like I've had this project on my wheel for so long, and I'm ready to start something new. And so I think that'll hopefully keep me motivated. Otherwise, I don't have any acquisitions to share this episode. What's been going on with us? I've been doing lots and lots of baking recently. I've been really on a baking kick. I have been baking sweets every weekend and then bringing them to my knit night every weekend. Sometimes also, if I have other gatherings with friends, I will bring my sweet treats that I baked and to share with my friends because I'm making too many for me and my husband to eat, but I've had some good successes. A favorite is it's like a s'mores cookie bar, which is so good, and I made last week also for the Super Bowl. We had some friends come over and hang out for that, and I made the s'mores bars for that. I made these like raspberry dark chocolate cheesecake bars, which were pretty good. This weekend I made some thumbprint cookies, but it's not like a shortbread dough. It was like the dough had cream cheese in it, so it was a very soft cookie that also had some lemon in it. And I made some with peach jam and some with berry jam. Those were really good. I've also been back on my sourdough game. I haven't done a loaf in a while, but this weekend we also made sourdough bagels. And you guys, those turned out so good. So good. And they were not that hard. So definitely recommend if you have sourdough starter to try. I can put a link to the recipe that I used as well that was really good. But we made some everything bagels and some cinnamon sugar bagels and got some cream cheese and some smoked salmon and dill, and it was so good. And some strawberry cream cheese for the cinnamon sugar one. So I think we're gonna make them again this weekend since my sister's gonna be in town. We're gonna make another batch of bagels, and I'm really looking forward to that because they were so good. Oh my gosh, the light, it has gotten so dark in here. I should probably sign off soon. I think the sun is about to set. I'm trying to think about if I have anything else. Oh, I've got some fun knitting and yarn excursions upcoming in the next couple of weekends. So not this upcoming weekend, but the Explore Knits team is coming to La Mercerie, I think March 1st. And so some of my friends and I are gonna take the ferry, hop over to Bainbridge Island, and grab some yarn and chat and hang out a little bit. So that is going to be really fun. And then the weekend after that is the Rose City Yarn Crawl in Portland, and my buddies and I are gonna head down to Portland as well and do some yarn crawling. So I'm really excited for that. I've got some fun crafting filled and friend and fun filled weekends ahead. So that'll be great. I'm trying to think about if there's anything else worth sharing. It's been really cold here in Seattle. I know it's been really cold elsewhere as well, but it just warmed up these last couple days. It's also been rainy, which honestly is kind of a relief because January was very dry. So it's kind of nice to have rain again. Just feels like normal. It feels like balance for it to be raining again, I guess. Yeah, I think that's kind of it. So thank you so much for tuning in. I know this one was a little bit shorter, but I thought I had a minute and wanted to, I don't know when I will have another minute, so I wanted to go ahead and update y'all on what I've been working on. So thanks for tuning in. I hope you have a great rest of your week, and I will see you next time. I forgot to do my usual, I'm reminding this, I'm kind of in my head about it too, because I was thinking someone asked me, why do I say the thing about I hope you watch lots of baseball? So maybe I'll just mention it here. I also need to go in and respond to that comment. Folks who have been here from the beginning of this podcast will remember this podcast used to have a different name. It was called 108 Stitches, which is the number of stitches in a baseball. And I mostly talked about knitting and crafting and stuff, but I also talked a little bit about baseball at the end of each of my podcast episodes and like something that was happening in the baseball world at that time. Part of this is, I mean, I am a huge baseball fan. I'm still a huge baseball fan, but at the time I was working for the Seattle Mariners, and baseball was just on my brain all the time. And it still is a lot of the time. But I decided that I probably didn't need to put in these like silly little baseball blurbs at the end of every episode. And so I renamed the podcast, and I don't really talk about baseball stuff anymore. But that sign off is from the original days, and I've just stuck with it. So I still always say that I hope you do lots of knitting and watch lots of baseball and have a great week or couple of weeks. So that is my message to you today, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.